They're fat, they're round, and these chubby little piggies are arguably one of the most popular homesteading animals on the market today. Hey guys, I'm Cody with Home to Homestead, and today we're going to be looking at one of my personal favorite homesteading animals, the Kunekune pig. This little New Zealander piggy has become so popular, it's hard to go to any small scale farm and not see a Kunekune. However, we're going to answer the question today, are they right for you? And I'm going to answer all the questions that you may have about this little rotund piece of bacon. But anyways, guys, let's get started. As I said a little earlier, Kunekunes are originally from New Zealand, and their name literally translates to fat and round, which, yeah, that checks out. The reason Maori people love the Kunekune is pretty much the same reason that everyone else loves them. They're easy to manage, they don't tear up the earth as much, and they're very docile, which makes them a great homesteading pig. Kunekunes are one of the smallest breeds of domestic pig. An adult Kunekune can weigh upwards of 250 pounds, and your really big ones can even hit 300. You can compare that to your standard feeder hog, which can be between 400 and 500 pounds, and even your meat hogs, which can hit 600 to 800, and that's butchering weight. Their compact size makes them ideal for small acreage and families with kids, and anyone who doesn't want a 700-pound animal blowing through their fences. Trust me, pigs are far stronger than they look, and even these little Kunekunes have given me a run for my money sometimes. Temperament is an area where the Kunekunes really shine. Trust me, nothing beats an animal that hates you, and Kunekunes just love being around you. They're widely considered to be one of the friendliest pig breeds in the world. They have super calm personalities, they're easy to handle, very low aggression, they're great with kids and great with other animals. I've seen my geese bite my pigs, and the pigs just do not care. And they're extremely trainable. They understand routines really well, and heck, Petunia can sit. If you want a pig that acts more like a dog than a pig, Kunekunes are hard to beat on that front. No other animal on the homestead even comes close to the affection that they love to give. Next, let's talk about grazing and rooting when it comes to Kunekunes. So first off, let's check out their noses. Kunekunes are famous for their short little noses. This makes rooting for them a lot harder than normal. Without those big long noses, they aren't able to get to the ground as easy. You see here how Petunia looks like she ran into the back end of a parked car. I love you, baby. Kunekunes are also famous for being grazers. This works really well for pasture-based systems like we got going on here. People save a lot of money on their feed for Kunekunes because they love grass. They'll spend all day grazing if you put them in a pasture that has enough grass. But let's talk about the pig elephant in the room. So Kunekunes do root, and that's something that everybody seems to think that is just not a thing. But here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's just a little area where we're at. And now this looks a lot worse than it actually is. So the pasture that we're in is really wet. We've had a lot of rain here, so the pigs are able to do a lot more damage than they normally would. This just shows you what a Kunekune can do when it's given the opportunity with like soft grass and soft mud. They can definitely do some damage to the pasture. So let's go ahead and put a bow on this topic. Do Kunekunes root? Yes, but they root substantially less than a lot of pigs. And for those of you out there that have small acreages, you can still have Kunekunes as long as you accept that you're going to have a little bit of rooting. But they do love fresh grass, and as long as you keep them with fresh pasture, your feed costs for Kunekunes will be way down. Next, I want to talk about the thing that's most important is being a homesteader. And that is your cost analysis when you look at raising Kunekunes for meat. Everybody loves having the pig. A lot of people don't get to the point of actually killing them. But at the end of the day, that's what you're doing as a homesteader is you're raising this creature so that you can get, that good food, that good quality meat at the end of the day. So let's get into it. You can see here Miss Penelope, she's doing some forage. She's eating some tasty, delicious grass. And these pigs are about a year and 2 months old. And when it comes to your standard pigs, Kunekunes are very slow growing. So what does that mean? Well, that means that as for you, a homesteader or someone who's trying to produce meat, that's a long turnaround for pigs, right? With a pig, you're looking at about a year. Kunekunes don't get their full size to almost 2. And that's a lot of feed cost to throw into an animal that you're going to butcher. That's why a lot of people try to do like your standard meat hogs, because that growth to harvest time is a lot shorter. Looking at Miss Penelope here, she is probably almost 200 pounds, if not just a little bit more. She's a chunk. Miss Petunia is too. But like I said, it's taken them over a year to get to that size. And you can see Mr. Ham Solo back there, he's eating grass. And ultimately, that's going to cut down on our food cost for having to feed them. However, your pigs still do need the minerals and the proteins and everything to have that complete balanced diet. So if you're looking for an animal that you can get and a year later you're butchering it and you've got that fresh food, Kunekunes might not be the right breed. But if you're someone who has a lot of pasture land and you can tractor the animals out, and we're very blessed, we have a lot of land out here that we can tractor the pigs around and, you know, minimize that food cost. But if you're not, you may want to consider a different type of pig, because you will be having this pig for quite a while. And that does equal time plus food will get your final cost. And the goal of being a homesteader is to try to save money on that back end. So yeah, ultimately, Kunekunes are not a quick turnaround breed of pig. They are your slow grower, and they have like delicious meat. So if you're willing to wait that extra bit of time for really high quality, delicious meat, Kunekunes are for you. But if you're looking not to spend an arm and a leg trying to raise the pig to harvest size, then Kunekunes are not the breed for you. All right, let's talk breeding and what kind of equipment you need to actually manage a small herd of Kunekunes. Kunekunes are really easy breeders, but like I mentioned a little earlier, they mature really slowly. And as for pigs, their litter is a little bit smaller than normal. You're looking at about 4 to 8 piglets, whereas, you know, your standard meat hog can produce a lot more babies and offspring than that. They're excellent mothers and they're super gentle. Like most pigs, Kunekunes can either be really great moms or they can be terrible, so they fit that stereotype of pigs pretty well. Just a reminder, Kunekunes do have that really slow growth. You couple that with the smaller litters, and you're looking at, you know, not the greatest output for a meat pig, but once again, you're getting that super delicious, well-marbled meat, and a lot of people are worth waiting with that sacrifice of that extra money for that high-quality meat. All right, so let me show you our setup for what we use for containing our Kunekune pigs. I'm being followed here. If you check this video up here in the corner, that's the video that I did when I originally bought our fencing system. And it's been working really well. It's basically a little electric fence with a solar power charger. And that's what I use to keep the pigs inside. Our fencing setup is really simple. We have this little Helios Mini 160 solar charger. And then we have probably about 400-ish yards of electric fencing. And this little charger is able to give the pigs a nice pop when they touch the fence, and it allows us to be able to move them really easy. Check out this footage I took from our drone. You kind of get a good idea of the size of the paddock that I have my 3 pigs in. 3 roughly 200-pound pigs can exhaust a paddock in about a week. And luckily, this portable electric fencing makes it really easy for us to move. Overall, the maintenance of Kunekunes is a lot less than your larger pigs because they're not fence breakers. They will get out, but they're not knocking down, you know, established infrastructure, which makes them easier to manage. You'll be hard-pressed to find an animal that's more hardy than a pig, especially your Kunekunes. Now, they still do have your typical needs that are associated with pigs, and one of the biggest ones is parasite control. That's easily taken care of by just doing your rotational grazing and moving their pastures and giving them love because they like to take up the camera time. But also we can use using diatomaceous earth on their food really takes the load off. There's not a lot of health problems that pigs have, so they're very simple in that regard. Like I said, pigs are pretty simple. However, I do want to show you one thing specific to males, and that is tusk. So let's check out Mr. Ham Solo here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So Mr. Ham Solo here is our boy pig, and he definitely has some tusk. You can see here, these are his upper tusk, and he definitely has lower ones as well. And they're pretty sharp, to be honest. I mean, look at that guy. That's got a nice point on it. They're definitely pretty long, see? I'm not going to get too much in there because I wouldn't want someone poking around in my face, but I can trade that off with some ear scratches. But yeah, as long as you understand what you're getting into when you incorporate a male pig into your herd, During the time when the females go into heat, he could get a little bit more aggressive. So you just need to take the proper precautions during that time. But otherwise, he's just a friendly pig. All right, so let's make the decision. Are the Kunekunes right for you? If you don't mind waiting for the meat production and you want a family-friendly, adorable, super affectionate, very intelligent animal for your homestead, then yeah, the Kunekune is right for you. But if you're someone who is trying to breed these pigs from baby all the way up to slaughter size on a quick turnaround and not spend an arm and a leg for really good meat, then they're not for you. The Kunekunes take so long to reach, adult size that they're not just for most people. But like I said,
they're so sweet and cute. Look at Mr. Ham Solo getting the scratches.
But all right, guys, I really hope this video has helped you out. And I hope I've been able to help you make an intelligent decision on whether or not you want one of these big old bacon loaves on your property. But if this video has helped you out, please consider liking and subscribing. It does a lot for the YouTube algorithm, and it helps grow the channel. And also, Miss Penelope would really appreciate it. You don't want to let Miss Penelope down, do you? But anyways, guys, this has been Cody with Home to Homestead, out here.